Good evening, everyone. Happy May 10th. It's kind of a big day for me. 3 years ago was when I took my last opiate after being on them pretty much every day for 8 years. And off and on a pretty routine basis for 20 years. I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. It has not been easy, not because I had cravings, not because I was addicted and because I wanted to take them so badly. Far from that, actually. I've never craved taking an opiate. I've never craved taking any medication. But after being prescribed them for various pain issues that are chronic, I did become dependent on them. And my body rebelled in a variety of very painful ways, both physically, mentally, spiritually, relationally. I've been in post-acute withdrawals for quite a while. Who knows what it's from, whether it be opiates, benzos, antidepressants, antipsychotics, or who knows, allergy medications, daily ibuprofen, daily Benadryl, daily muscle relaxers, could be anything. The fact is that I was polydrugged for 25 years and my body's really struggling to get back to homeostasis. But it's doing better than it might have because through this journey, I used cannabis. And I believe with my entire being, as well as I have seen various other people have the same results, that cannabis really does help our body get to homeostasis. Like I said, it's been a long journey. I started coming off of medications in 2014. Primarily, I was looking at getting off the opiates because I saw what was coming of people getting cold turkeyed. And that's just so painful and so rude and so unnecessary. I'm completely against any medical professional, or if a person chooses that and they've been well informed, that's a personal choice. But for a physician to do that to a patient who has trusted them with their health and with their care, and then to give them a sentence of, you're going to be really, really in pain for a long time, that's not fair. And I saw that happening, and I had had a couple occasions where I had to wait for my prescription, and it was uncomfortable. It was terribly uncomfortable. And I knew with the dosages that I was taking, which was 60 to 90 milligrams of oxycodone every day for 7 years, up and down, sometimes less, sometimes more. But I was taking a substantial amount of opiates on a regular basis, and I knew that if that got taken away, it would be really bad. Which, another story, coming off the benzos, when I jumped off 1 milligram Xanax, that's pretty much what happened. So yeah, when I first stopped, I had tapered down to where I was taking only about 10 milligrams every other day, sometimes even only 5 milligrams every other day. That's when I stopped on oxycodone on May 10th, 2016. I had a lot going on in my life. A lot of people weren't being forthright and honest. So that messed with my head, which was already, when you're on those many medications, your head doesn't work very well, doesn't assess reality very well. But I knew what was going on, but there was a lot of really underhanded type things going on, and it made everything worse. It really made everything worse. And um, that first 2 months before I went off of the benzos as well, the biggest things that I would say was obviously pain had increased, anxiety was up, and this irritability that I'd never experienced before. I had no patience. I was so irritable. I was so cranky and uh, making very rash decisions and being very influenced by everybody else and what was going on and not being able to really think things through. So now, today, I'm managing my emotions pretty well. I can't control everything. Nobody can. They think they can, but they really can't, because if they think they can, they haven't been in a position where things were really crazy. And I've been in way too many of those. And I'm eliminating that kind of stuff from my life. I don't let that drama come into my life. If I see it creeping in, I get rid of it in a big hurry. And that means getting rid of people. And I have really worked hard over these last 3 years. There has not been a period of time that was significant that I have not had a counselor. I have been learning new skills. I have been rebuilding skills and getting them back up to par that I had learned in the past. I've been working really hard, and I eat a good diet. I have kept myself going the whole time through this. I have made myself get outside. I have made myself get out of bed, sometimes not for very long, especially in those early days. I spent a lot of time in bed that first year almost. Just, brief forays to do basic stuff. But things have changed, and I have pain. I still have pain. I'm not going to lie. I have a lot of pain. I have a lot of chronic skeletal issues. I have tendon and nerve damage that's very painful. And so I still have pain, but between all the different modalities of using mind over matter, I'm able to cope with it better. Acceptance and commitment therapy for pain is the best thing that anyone can do. If you can find a really good pain clinic that isn't handing out meds, but they're handing out tools, and they hand out acceptance and commitment classes, that's where you need to be. For opiates, for pain, for chronic pain, it's very, very helpful. I hurt every day, but I hurt whether I get up or not. Now, some people, it's not like that. There's some conditions that you get up and you push and it puts you back for days. And I did go through that for a little bit, and I learned to be really gentle and build slow. And I can still overdo it. I can still put myself in bed for a day or two. Um, but now I'm able to be active because I built up to it, like 2 years ago, I started really seriously walking, and I was getting 1,000 steps a day in, and that was pretty good. And then I found that I could do a little bit more, and then I got to where a year ago I did a 3.5 or a 5K last May 26th. Today I've done 13,863 steps today, and it's 7:56. I have been up and out of bed since 7:30. I've been to the gym. Besides my steps, I've swam. I have done weights. And it's just incredible, the difference. It just it surprises me because I'm doing so well with no medications other than cannabis. I use cannabis in the form of FICO. I have capsules that I make with FICO. I also occasionally will use tinctures. I use topicals, and then I also vape and occasionally smoke. And I have found that, like today, I had 2 CBD caps and 2 of what I call my winter blend. It's a special blend that I made. So I had 1 of each at about 7 a.m. and then I had 1 of each again at 1:30 before I went to the gym. I've only smoked not even a full bowl today. So that's all I've had today. I did use topical on my back because my back was really hurting. And like I said, I've had a very active day. I've done a bunch of walking and exercising and went to counseling, went grocery shopping. I've been busy. I had a 3-hour job this morning. And I can't have days like this every day yet, but I can have them. And I pulled up a picture, and those of you that are on Facebook or Instagram, you probably saw it, but you know, in 2014, I was about 10 pounds, maybe 15 pounds heavier, and I was on a cane, and I was only out of bed some days, and only for a couple hours, and it wasn't to do anything strenuous. So that's a testimony to me. That's just a testimony. There's no other way to put it. Cannabis works. It works, guys. I understand there are some people that have certain alleles in their DNA strands that and certain conditions that cannabis isn't assimilated in their bodies very well. You know, there's always those kinds of people in every situation, just like with medications. There's some people that can't take certain medications because their body just doesn't assimilate that medication. So, you know, I can see where somebody might not be able to use cannabis, but a lot of people can. A lot of people are coming off medications and taking back control of their lives, and they aren't high, they're healing, they're participating, they're functioning at very high levels. That's exciting. That's very exciting. If you would have told me when I first quit working in 2010, when my doctor or 2011, excuse me, when my doctor took me off work because of a back injury and said, you just can't do it, and you need to file for disability. And if you would have told me then that I would feel the way I do about I'm not completely against all medications, but when it comes to the psychiatric medications and narcotics and benzodiazepines, I want no part of them. Now, if I have a surgery, that might be a different story, but for routine use, I never want any of them again. I'm not sure I ever want a benzo again. And to be very honest, none of them work for me really well because I had an angiogram not last winter, but the winter before, and they gave me Versed and fentanyl, so an opiate and a benzo type drug, and it didn't work. I was wide awake through the whole thing. It was very terrifying. So, you know, when I go into the hospital, which, you know, I haven't been in a doctor's office for a year. I haven't been into an emergency room. Oh, I had to go in. I got a really bad scrape and just wanted to get it checked out to make sure it wasn't infected, because it was on a bunch of barbed wire. And that I went to an urgent care, and I was there for 15 minutes and back out. They looked at it, said it was fine, did a swab, and it was great, and sent me on my way. Didn't even tell me I needed antibiotics or anything like that. But I don't go to the doctors for every little thing. I still have severe allergies, and they get to be a little cumbersome at times, but I can't take any of the allergy meds. Every time I've tried to take them, they don't work for me anymore, and they give me bad side effects, so I just don't. So, you know, being off opiates and still having pain and still being very able to get out and do a day, that's what cannabis can do for you. Now, another thing, I haven't had any money during all this. I've been broke as broke can be. I mean, I've been living on nothing. I was in a tent part of this time. And for months and months and months couldn't do anything to earn any money, and still can only work very, very limited. And I'm on Social Security, SSI, Supplemental Security Income. I get $777 a month, and I feel rich. I feel rich. It's changed my life. I haven't talked about this since it's happened. I don't think I've made a video since it's happened. I can't remember. It's changed my life because I have that secure income, and because I finally have a secure place to be. I'm not afraid. I don't have that fear that I've had since 2012 when I got kicked out of someplace. And I've had fear, and I've had that happen more than once, where people abused their power because they own the property. And anyway, it hasn't been good all the time. Oh, and I lost track of see, this is one of the symptoms that I still have. So maybe that's what I need to talk about. And I'm sorry I got off track there, because it happens sometimes. I do still, and who knows, like I said, people, you can ask me all you want about, did I have this symptom and that symptom? And I'll tell you, but I also will always preface it with, I was coming off like 10 medications at the same time over 4 years. So I don't know what symptom is from what. There's no way that I can know. So I can just tell you things that are still hindering me. The things that hinder me to have the full life that I would like to have is that I do have cognitive difficulties. I lose concentration. I struggle finding words. I cannot read I mean, I've read a couple little novels, but I used to read like big novels, like 4 or 5 of them a week. And now I can read just stupid little love romances. I've read like 3 of them last summer. It was, and I can't focus. I can't remember what I've read. And I have a hard time looking at it because I'm still having visual disturbances. I still get floaters. Sometimes it feels like my eyes are still shaking. They're shaking. And just blurry, just plain, like I'm looking through a smoke screen, even when we don't have smoke, and we have a lot of smoke here, but sometimes that's what it feels like, that I'm looking through a fog or something. So I can't drive because of that, as well as I have, I easily have sensory overload. So if I'm in traffic, I mean, I haven't even tried to drive in traffic for 2 years, because I either get really agitated because people are crazy when they're driving. They're driving, a couple 1,000-pound piece of machinery, and they aren't thinking about what they're doing. They aren't paying attention to their driving. They're just thinking about the argument they had with their spouse, or they're thinking about getting to work on time, or they're thinking about their grandma in the hospital, or they're thinking about the test they have, but they aren't thinking about driving, and you can tell, and it makes me really anxious. And I have all these visual disturbances, and so then when I see people driving erratically on top of my visual disturbances, it's just this sensory overload that I can't manage. I just can't manage. I mean, I've been in a car in a big city where I wasn't driving, I was just a passenger, and I ended up in tears, just because it's so difficult for my brain to process. And I used to be a fabulous driver and drove up and down the I-5 all over the place, and I miss that, and I'm hoping to get that back. I'm really trying to work on that, and hoping that things improve because I want to travel. I still have bladder issues. It comes and goes. I have food cravings. I still have crying jags, not very often, but once in a while. While I am much better emotionally regulated, I get a little hot sometimes. I still have some irritability, but I'm much better able to manage it than I was. Thank God. That part was so hard. I mean, to go from being a well-modulated, self-controlled person that was taking care of cardiac patients and their families and dealing with doctors and other nurses and high stress situations, and to either completely crumble or to get super irate over every little thing. It was just so hard. So I still have some underlying irritability, but I can manage through it, and I don't lash out uh, or feel just completely like I'm going to implode upon myself, because I feel that way. I just I accept it. And, you know, I can't say enough about acceptance. Whatever, if you're coming off any kind of medications and you're having any kind of symptoms, get them checked out. If you need to get them checked out for peace of mind, fine. You know, you probably will learn over time that there's nothing they can really do for you at the hospital except give you medications, or at the doctor's except give you medications. They don't know how to direct you to the proper skill building or tools that can help you deal with those kind of things in life. And there are plenty of them out there. There's lots of skills, there's lots of tools, there's lots to learn if you struggle. And all of that has helped me. What else do I have for symptoms? I still get restless legs sometimes. I still have insomnia. Like I said, I have the nerve pain, and then I have my skeletal pain. And there's days that, you know, like in the winter when the weather's changing a lot, I'll have to take, you know, 2 of each capsule every 4 hours and smoke most of the day. I mean, that happens with chronic pain sometimes. But most of the time I'm able to, you know, just take what I need to be okay and go about my day. Very with it. More with it than I ever was on those medications. I don't know how I worked. I mean, I didn't take opiates at work, but I was on antidepressants while I was at work, and I took benzos when I was off work, and opiates when I was off work. I just didn't take them before I went to work. But man, I don't even know how I did it. I really don't. And there's people out there working that do that they have medications just like I did, and they're working at hospitals and other places. It's incredible. And yet, you know, getting a job with cannabis is still kind of challenging unless it's in the cannabis industry or maybe pumping gas. I mean, there's just not a lot of places, unless you build your own business, which I'm working on. You just all watch. I got something coming up, and I'm feeling really good about it. In fact, I'm already kind of doing it. Anyway, it's coming, and I'm going to use all the things that I've learned and all the experiences I have had, and it's going to be good. So, you know, I wouldn't wish what I've been on on my worst enemy. I just wouldn't. I mean, it really has been hell. And I wasn't informed. When I would inquire about taking so many medications and be concerned about, addiction and dependence and all of that, and my doctor's response would be, but you're taking them appropriately as directed, and you're having the therapeutic benefits. My butt. Sorry. Anyway. So yeah, it's good. It's all good. And hey, you like my shirt, Wicked Flower? Thank you so much. A little bling for being in the biz and sharing the testimonies and helping people figure out how to make medicine and where to get medicine. And I got a shirt. I like it. Anyway, I just wanted to give an update. I wanted to celebrate with all of you. This is really momentous. Not everybody gets here. There's people who were following doctor's orders and they die because the medications are too much. And then there's people who come off the medications and they don't have the right support. And they feel alone and they're in pain and they're sick. And whether they took them, whether it was a prescription or it started as a prescription and then became a street drug issue, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. What matters is supporting people who have to go through what I had to go through and other people have to go through to get off them. And it's not just a couple weeks of detox and you're on your way. Maybe for some people, but there is a very large population that has struggles, post-acute withdrawal syndrome that can go on for months and years. So we need to support people if they are in a place where they're coming off medications and it hurts. We need to show them love. Even if they're misbehaving, kind of redirect them. Tell them, I love you, but you can't talk to me that way. Ask them what they really are trying to get at. If you aren't sick, sit in it a little and be with that person. There's a lot of things that people can do that would help a person that is suffering and struggling because they were just following doctor's orders, or because they started out following doctor's orders and then their body got addicted because they had some other underlying issues that they weren't dealing with, and they found that the pain pills helped that too. You can't say addiction is an illness and in the same breath say those scumbags need to go to jail. It's the opposite of each other. So you either say people are sick, which they are, they're sick, whether, if your body is going through what withdrawals are, that's an illness. And no one really asks for that, truly. Nobody does. And if you think they do, you don't understand this at all. And I encourage you to spend some time with people who've got on the other side and can inform you and enlighten you, because you need some enlightenment. So anyway, I just wanted to celebrate with all of you. So this is the only way I know how. So I am just happy as can be, and Shasta and I are doing well in our little trailer here, and I'm very hopeful for my future, and I even have enough hope for you too. I do. In fact, right there. Hope. That's my hope. I look at that and I think of anyone that I know that's suffering. I'm carrying hope for you. That's why I wear this, to remind me that I'm carrying hope for not just me, but for others. So, if you need help, reach out. I'll talk to you. Maybe see if I can direct you to something in your area. I don't know. Find a friend that you can talk to. Learn some skills. Meditation. Meditation is bomb for pain, anxiety, depression. Helps a lot. It's a really, really good skill, and it's a practice, and you're not going to be perfect at first, and it's going to feel like you're doing it all wrong. But I'm here to tell you, after doing it for 2 years, meditation rocks. It does. And staying active, even if all you can do is chair yoga, even if all you can do is bed yoga, do a little bit of movement, do a little bit of stretching, get some fresh air, find gratitude. If you're still breathing, you got something to be grateful for, because some people don't, like I said, make it through this. It's just too much because they don't have anything and anyone helping them, and they don't know how to sort through the crazy thoughts that go through our head as our brains are trying to heal from this. So I've yabbered on enough. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate all the wonderful comments you all send to me. I try very hard to respond. Like I said, sometimes my brain doesn't work so great, and sometimes I miss out. But if it's really important to you, make another comment, and I will make a better effort to be watching them. Okay? So you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you're on this journey too, I celebrate you. You are taking a really big step to a better life for yourself. All right. Y'all have a good evening. Peace.